Hello, you guys. It's been a little while, but I have been meaning to share with you more of the homeschool curriculum that I use with my kids. And one of them is about teaching your kids how to write. And I recommend it. So that's what I'm going to be sharing in this video today. If you're new here, if you are considering homeschooling your kids, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I have other videos where I give you my honest opinion on the other curriculum that I have used. So I have these books right here that are called Building Writers. And I heard about these books online from like other homeschooling moms on YouTube. So we started using it comes from a company called Learning Without Tears, and so this is their writing program. And I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure I have reviewed it in other videos, like on my other videos where I've shared all my curriculum for the year in the past. We used book A of Building Writers. I believe so. I think that was the first one. Yeah, it should be. That one, I don't have it here, but I'm going to start with B. And pretty much I wrote down here grade 1. As you can see, we keep it honest here. There's little stains and whatnot. This book has been through life with us, and I consider it like first grade level. Although, as you know, if you're homeschooling, you don't necessarily have to go based off of the way that public schools or private schools go about measuring their students, like by grade level. But you know, it's more about where your child is at, and what matters at the end of the day is that your kid learns to write by the end of their, you know, education, their primary education, right? So if your kid is in, I don't know, kindergartner, and they're able to, you know, go through the other book, and then they're already doing this before first grade, that's fine. And if your child is a second or third grader, and okay, that's where your kid is at, then, you know, go, feel no shame and go at your pace. Because often what happens with homeschooling your kids is that you might, it will take you time, probably years, for your school to figure things out and settle with the proper behaviors and things like that in homeschooling, and to get more you know, used to, okay, this is our life, this is what we do. And so even in the curriculum brand name, Learning Without Tears. And yeah, because it's a difficult task to learn. I mean, we take it for granted as adults, but I mean, little kids, their fingers are weak. They have to learn, like, every letter has its own, like, instructions, like, where do I start? Like, you know, like, stay inside the lines, you know, and all of that. So, like, which way does the D go, the B, the P, the Q, and all of that. So, it is something that kids can cry about during homeschool. But the good thing is that if you're homeschooling your kids, or maybe you're, I don't know, I imagine everyone that's watching this video is interested or is homeschooling. But if you are just a parent, you know, and you are wanting to be very involved in your kid's education, and your kid is going to, you know, a school outside of your home, then you can also be that extra teacher to your kids and help them reinforce these skills. And you can use things like this too. And yeah, you might witness a few tears along the way, but I recommend this curriculum because although it is true that you don't necessarily need curriculum, for teaching your kids to write. If you don't want to spend the money, then that's fine. But I recommend going through this program if you are able to, because it takes it step by step. So depending on the level your child is at, for example, I've noticed I told you this is B, C, and D that I have here. And I believe there's one more. I'm not sure. I'd have to check, but these are the ones that we've just finished and we're going towards. They usually have all consistently been about teaching your kid to be able to write narrative writing, information writing, and opinion argument writing. And I'll tell you this honest story just for the sake of educating you if you are interested in learning about homeschooling and what your options are. Just some food for thought. So we went for a few years through a private school, and we were in order to homeschool. So we were required to report to the person in charge of the homeschooling records. We had to report to them, like show them a writing page, a math page, and what was the other one? Math. And we had to and write down like what are they learning with, like social science, social studies, science, and go through like the language arts. What else are they learning? And so it's interesting because we went through a process of 2 different people. And so in the beginning, when my kids were like kindergarten and first graders, it was kind of easy to just do that. I mean, it took time to write these things, and we had to report, I think, 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. So went through that process 3 times, and then go to the school and submit these things. But then we went through a different coordinator, and I think she has that teaching background, I think. And so it was a little different with that situation. Went through the school year with that coordinator 1 year, and then after that we're in this year where I've decided to just go about it on our own. And I'll make a video about that in the future, about if you don't really want to go through other schools, you just want to just do it on your own. Like, how do you do that? It's really simple. I didn't know it was that easy, and so I wanted to go through someone, even though it was expensive for us to do that. But so what happened was that this coordinator had certain standards of what was required for each student. So if your child was a 3rd grader, she required that we submit a 3-paragraph or like 4 or 5, I can't remember anymore, but something like a 3-paragraph written paper. Like, they should be able to do that at this age. And I just remember thinking, hey, that kind of goes against all the things that I have been hearing about experienced homeschooling parents, and even like ex-teachers that are homeschooling their kids now. I just remember thinking, okay, that's not really where my kid is at. my kids were at. And so it's like, okay, instead of doing our regular like homeschooling days, I remember when those things were due, it would literally take us like the whole day to pretty much have my kids try to meet those standards of this well-intended lady coordinator, but my kids were just not ready to do that. But they did, and it was very difficult. And so having gone through this recently, just in our regular day-to-day, I'm like, you know what, I think it is wise to go through this curriculum with my kids because it's less overwhelming. It's like baby steps instead of just, okay, here's a pencil, here's a paper, write down 3 paragraphs and tell me your opinion, you know, and make arguments and give me reasons. And on top of, you know, that's pretty hard, complicated thinking skills that kids have to develop over time. But you also are dealing with, like, you know, like, where are you at with the whole writing? You know, how's your spelling, and how much are you able to write, like, in a sitting and things like that. So I like that for these books we were able to just go through a lesson, and a lesson is really quick. It's like just 1 page where it explains what narrative writing is. For example, I'll just show you if you're starting off with book B. So it says, narrative writing tells a story in order. Read the story. And then it says beginning. It was time for Ellie's big day. Middle. The elephant painter came. And when he finished, Ellie looked bright and beautiful. Then on the bottom, it has a little box that says narrative writing checklist. I wrote a story in order. I wrote details. I wrote on an ending. And it keeps it really simple, you know? And so a lot of this book was just copying what they wrote, copy the story. And it allows them to, like, draw, which is at a certain age, that's, you kind of need these little extra things to try to keep it fun, you know, like just a drawing break. I know my kids are like that. So you know, if your kid is just learning to, you know, write their letters and all of that, it's nice to not be expected to do more than where they're at, you know. And so eventually you do get to the end of the book where they are able to write their own sentences. They draw their pictures, and they get to now, you know, practice what they learned. So book C, it continues. It continues, but it starts to add, like, grammar. Like, for example, here, describing words. Adjectives describe nouns. Adverbs describe verbs. Write a sentence for each picture using an adjective and an adverb. So it starts to build on, like not just copy the sentence, but like, okay, now how can you add details to your sentence? So here, like, more stories. Read the story, write 3 words to describe each character. So it gets your child starting to think, okay, like, to be more creative, right? More coloring opportunities, drawing. Same topics, like right here, information, writing, and same lesson, but now you can see that they have more sentences. More opportunities for them to write about comparison. Like here, like, you're starting to compare 2 things, you know, and it does fall under the information writing. So that way they're learning, like, the different ways, the different purposes of writing. And I like that they focus on, like, just those 3 things. And then the last one, which we're moving on to. So here we go. Let's see. Narrative writing, information writing, opinion, argument writing also. But here, as you can see, the stories are a little longer. They have like, here they have a riddle and they have to like unscramble the words, try to figure out the riddle. Here, for example, let's just read this. Wilbur and a new adventure. Read about the character Wilbur. Create a new character. Draw and describe your new character. Choose a setting in which Wilbur and the character you created will have an adventure. So it gives you the prompts, you know, and it guides you so that you don't have to like get stuck or lost about like, what do I write, you know? So here we go. Event, who, when, where, beginning, middle, end. And so more information writing here. I don't know if I'm seeing this. Yeah, I think I'm noticing this. The lines right here, they're smaller, so they're encouraging the kids to write smaller now. You can see here blank pages for them to create their own topics. Fun word puzzle there. Opinion, reason 1, 2, 3, conclusion. Advertisement. Take a look at the advertisement below. Write about why someone should learn cursive. Here they're probably getting you to look into their cursive book, which we have gone through it, and my daughter did learn to write cursive pretty easily with that book. I waited until she was good with the printing first and then introduced her to cursive. Yeah, that's it. And then after we go through the final book, that's where I'll you know, start to give my kids more assignments where I provide prompts, or now we can actually dive into like, okay, for our unit study, we're going to learn about this, or we're going to go to the library and you have to find a book that you're going to want to write a research paper on. So definitely start wherever they need. You know, if it's one paragraph, okay, you know, I can write a paragraph, Mom. Okay, then that's good. We don't want to overstress them, right? Like if 3 paragraphs is too much, okay, let's do 2, you know? And then once 2 becomes easy and you're seeing, okay, they can do that pretty fast, okay, let's do 3, and just go on from there at their pace. That's the nice thing about homeschooling. So yeah, that's the curriculum I wanted to recommend to you guys. So I used to buy my homeschooling books on the website, and I sometimes still do. Christian book, I think it's christianbook.com. They have a homeschooling section there. But you can also check out Amazon, although I'm starting to notice that Amazon's homeschooling curriculum are pretty expensive compared to, now I'm starting to look for books on eBay. And I'm sure there are other places you can look for these things. I do like to go to the christianbook.com website because they provide more pages so you can check out the book. But then I'll check for what's the most affordable option, and then I go there. So yeah, I definitely, if anyone asks my opinion on how do you teach your kid to write, I definitely say for sure get into a program, a writing program, because writing is so important. You're going to need it your whole educational career, right? And then your actual career, or just in life. And I think it's worth it. And this one is fairly affordable. It's not like, you know, some curriculums where you'll have to spend like $50 or plus. if you buy one at a time, it's pretty affordable. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do me a favor and like this video so more people can learn about this awesome curriculum. And I hope that you will homeschool your kids. Bye.